What is going on, my fellow geeks?
3 movies with elves and a guy with a white beard.
Not a lot of people accept it as canon.
2022 will be the year of Star Wars.
Well, I have more than just one piece of geek news.
I have been Isaac Hunter.
Which is like high culture, but better.
Hello, fellow geeks, and welcome back to Raving Geeks, the weekly pop culture podcast where we talk about all things geeky and geek culture, which is like high culture, but better. My name is Hope Gooderl, host of the Raving Geeks podcast, along with my co-hosts who will introduce themselves in a minute with our question of the week. If you are just joining us for the first time and you like this episode, you can check out our other episodes at cm-life.com or any other place that you listen to podcasts like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Just search Central Michigan Life Podcasts, Raving Geeks. So first off, we want to wish you guys all a happy Valentine's Day. If you don't like Valentine's Day and you're like me and you want to call it something different, happy Valentine's Day. Happy post Super Bowl week. Sorry to any Philadelphia Eagles fans, but Central came and represented in the defense, and the other school might have come to represent in the offense for Kansas City Chiefs, but they will not be mentioned, but the player might be later. But so this week, I wanted to ask my co-hosts 2 questions for question of the week. So my first one is, what was your favorite Super Bowl commercial from this year's Super Bowl? Or if you didn't watch this year's Super Bowl, from a past Super Bowl?
Hi guys, I'm Carter, and I actually didn't like a lot of the Super Bowl commercials this year. I thought it was very lackluster, but my favorite is probably the Clueless one.
Yes.
It was really funny. It's just the problem with all the commercials this year is that I didn't really know what they were selling. You know?
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Mike?
Well, hi, I'm Mike. Back from, Level Up Chips. And I would say, as a video game fan, I would have to say the Mario Brothers commercial was really, really good. Was that with Super Bowl? If not, it was during the time of the Super Bowl, and I really liked it. It was basically the Mario Brothers doing a little plumbing commercial.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, really cute. I loved every second of it. And if it wasn't in the Super Bowl, I'm sorry. If it's, I think second best was, I like the Flash one. I thought the Flash one looked good.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, my local station could have done some local, Super Bowl commercials, because I know Mike Morris, law firm had a commercial during the Super Bowl, and I was like, that's definitely not countrywide. So that could have been during that. I don't know. But my favorite, and it actually made me cry, was the farmer's dog food commercial, where it was the girl, she has the chocolate lab from a puppy and promises to take care of him, and then she has the baby, and the chocolate lab is old and going through all the times that it remembers, her loving him, and I was like, no, I'm crying. I should not cry at a freaking Super Bowl commercial. But I did.
That's how they get you.
I mean, I'm not buying ridiculously expensive dog food that gets delivered to my house and is probably more nutritious than what I eat. But it was a very cute commercial. So I'm also still a fan of the E-Trade babies. So the fact that they came back, I was very happy. So second question of the week is related to our topic for this week. What is your favorite Valentine's gift to receive?
Oh, it's definitely chocolate. It has to be chocolate.
So I think it has to be this one specific chocolate that I like. That's like, it's that like hazelnut chocolate one that's in like a golden ball. It's like Ferrero Rocher or something like that.
And it's got it's the gold foil, but it like sits in like not a muffin paper, but essentially like the brown muffin paper. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like my favorite one. It melts in your mouth, and when you crunch it, it's just like a little bit hollow enough where it's like, ooh, I like that.
I would say chocolate, but honestly, I have grown to be a very big plant mom. over the last few years. I just got myself a new plant. Um, so I like receiving plants. I like receiving like the flowers, even if they don't last long. Or if someone decides to give me a plant, as long as it's not a succulent, because I kill succulents. I don't kill cacti. I kill succulents.
How do you kill succulents? I thought those were like meant to be easy.
The only like technically cacti are under succulent, but like I can't kill those. I don't kill those. And then I got a snake plant and I was able to separate it into 2 pots, and I haven't killed that yet. But like you give me like the little succulent, any type of little succulent, and I kill it within like a week. And I'm like, how do I keep everything else alive, but not you? So
That is impressive.
right? There are some plants that I have had that are like the really difficult plants to take care of that everybody else kills within like a day, and I can keep that going for like 4 months. Like I had a little hydrangea plant and a little rose plant in just little cups.
Oh.
Those were like lasted 6 months. And they're not supposed to.
You
Yeah.
did it though.
I did. So yeah, we would love to hear from you guys what your favorite commercial from the Super Bowl was, and your favorite Valentine's Day gift to receive. Even if you're a single Pringle, you know, you can still receive gifts from friends and or family members. Doesn't matter. Any kind of gift is great. But now on to our geek news segment. So what have y'all got for us this week?
I guess I'll start. Spider-Man Noir is getting a live action series at Amazon, which I think is very exciting. It's a version of Peter Parker from the 1930s, and he fights Nazis. If you watched the Into the Spider-Verse movie, he's one of the characters in it, so that's really exciting. Disney announced the sequels for Frozen, Toy Story, and Zootopia. I'm really excited for Zootopia because Zootopia was a great movie. Frozen 3 and Toy Story 5, not so much because I think they're kind of unnecessary. Frozen 3, I get because trilogy, but Toy Story 5, I feel like they're just milking the Toy Story brand at this point. Spartacus is getting a sequel from the original showrunner, which is pretty cool, Stephen S. D. Knight. I never actually watched the show, but I thought that was interesting that that was coming out. And more about Disney, just more bad news from Disney is that Disney decided to lay off 7,000 employees as tax write-offs. So that was something that happened. And then Indiana Jones is going to be one of the most expensive movies ever made because Indiana Jones 5's budget report is being 294.7 million to make. For everybody that doesn't know, an Avatar movie needs 250 million, so that is more. So that is pretty impressive. But that's all my geek news.
Mike, what about you?
Well, I only have one thing, and it's meant to promote Level Up chips. The Nintendo Direct just happened last Wednesday. There was a lot of great stuff. Carter was there for the episode and everything, and you guys should totally check it out. Level Up chips, that's us.
Hey,
Hope
that
that's
works. I will give news for video games, surprising, but what the video game is should not surprise anybody. Hogwarts Legacy. There is a lot of, I don't necessarily want to call it drama, because it's not really drama, but there's like a conflict around it of not wanting to support J.K. Rowling and her transphobic comments. But at the same time, the character that you play could be interpreted as a transgender character, and is also at least non-binary, and is referred to as they them in the dialogue. And I know this because my best friend is playing it. And she recently restarted it because she did not get the killing curse in a side quest, and she was very upset about that. And I was like, that is true Slytherin form for her to just start the game over because she's upset she didn't get the killing curse.
That's
so
great news.
right? I do understand everybody not wanting to support her. I do understand that, but I mean, at the same time, the creators also kind of went, screw you, J.K. Rowling, because we're having this character that could be anybody because we don't feel like creating a way for someone to create their own character that looks like them. So,
Mhm.
Judging from what I've heard too, J.K. Rowling just took a like certain amount of payment for it instead of like royalty cuts.
yeah.
So no matter what, if it succeeds or not, you're not exactly going towards J.K. Rowling just to get that information out there.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Mhm.
In other news, the Mean Girls movie musical has more uh no, wait. That was old news. Sorry, apparently I never deleted that. Matlock is getting a reboot, and it's going to be starring Kathy Bates. And it's going to be through CBS. Um, Eric Olson, who some of you might know as Marty Deeks from NCIS LA. He was also in, oh, I think it was What to Expect When You're Expecting with Jennifer Lopez.
I think that's it.
I think that's the one with Alex O'Loughlin, who played Steve McGarrett on Hawaii Five-O, which is connected to the NCIS universe. Um, but anyway, key tangent there. Eric Olson is set to be one of the executive producers for the show. So it's the official log line for the show is after achieving success in her younger years, the brilliant septuagenarian Madeline Matlock rejoins the workforce at a prestigious law firm where she uses her unassuming demeanor and wily tactics to win cases and expose corruptions from within, based on a classic television series of the same name. Um, so yeah, for anyone who was a fan of that series in the 90s, it's coming back. Um, from news in Mount Pleasant, which is more of like maroon and bold news that they will hopefully be talking about. But Thomas Incoom, senior defensive lineman from here at CMU, has officially been invited to the NFL Combine this year for to show off his skills before the NFL draft. So that hopefully means that he gets drafted like Luke Gedicke and Bernard Raymond. Um, for fans of theater, specifically musical, and specifically Phantom of the Opera, um, if you have the money, as of March 1st, you can officially book an Airbnb stay at the theater in Paris, the Opera House, the Palais Garnier. If I am mispronouncing French, I am sorry. I studied Spanish. I know they're similar, but they're not. Um,
Ah,
but you can
I
stay at
studied
the
French.
yeah, but you can
Although,
stay at the theater that inspired Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera. So, you know, for those of you who like going and staying in places that are possibly haunted, this one might have a phantom. So, you know.
Hmm.
So of March 1st at 6 p.m., um, you can book that um for yeah, like a quick stay if you wanted to. But I'm assuming because it's Paris and it's famous, it's gonna be really expensive. And then in my final bit of geek news, which links to Black History Month, which we are still part of, is that there is a Black American heritage flag. Um, so basically, it's kind of on a, I'll try to describe it a little bit, but so it's kind of like a diagonal lines, and then you've got red in the top and bottom corner, and then black down the middle, and then it's got like the gold leaves, kind of horseshoe like you would see for Greek, with a sword in the middle in the black. And um, so it's a symbol that represents the culture and history of African Americans. And the flag is made up of the colors red and black with a distinct symbol in gold. And so, like the colors for Black History Month, red represents the innocent bloodshed by Black Americans throughout America's history, and the black signifies pride in the Black race. The gold color in the symbol represents intellect, prosperity, and peace. And the symbol itself, made up of a blunted sword and a fig wreath, has its own meaning. The sword is meant to instill pride, and the fig wreath symbolizes peace, prosperity, and everlasting life. So,
I love that.
yeah, it's a really pretty flag too. Like, it's so simple, but it's so elegant at the same time. So I encourage you guys to look it up and read more about the heritage of the flag. I learned about it from Khalil Pimpleton's Instagram story. He posted about it, so sharing more things from our CMU alum. And then my final news, as I said earlier, the Super Bowl win was Kansas City Chiefs. Mike Dana, who is a defensive lineman, he technically claims U of M, but that was because he was a grad transfer to U of M for his final year of eligibility, where he played here at CMU. He's on Kansas City Chiefs, and then Sky Moore is it's either running back or wide receiver, and I don't remember, but it's okay because he's from the school on the west side of the state that shall not be named. But he did get a touchdown for the Kansas City Chiefs to help them secure their win. So, we'll give him his shout out, okay? We'll be nice to him. All right, so on to our geek topic for the week. We're going to do things a little bit different. So the three of us came up with some movies, and we created a Valentine's movie bracket inspired by the filters on TikTok that have been kind of taking over of all the different like bracket filters where you can choose different things, and people are like, I'm gonna stop when I haven't seen the movie, and then they get stopped in the first round because they have no idea, or it shows them one movie for both choices because filters on TikTok. Woo! But so this is our geeks bracket that we came up with. We made just to the Sweet 16. We didn't do 64 to 32. We're just starting with a Sweet 16, and then going to the Elite 8, the Final Four, and of course our championship round. And how this is gonna work is we're gonna go through each of the different pairings, the matchups, and we're basically gonna try and argue which movie is better to see who the ultimate what the ultimate Valentine's Day movie is, both in the category of romantic movie as well as romantic comedies. So our first matchup of the night is Meet the Parents and Crazy Stupid Love. So these were your two picks. So who wants to go first and say why their movie should win?
Well,
I didn't do anything.
yeah, those are my two picks. But if I had to pick one, it'd probably be Crazy Stupid Love. Even though I love Meet the Parents and Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller's chemistry together, I do think Crazy Stupid Love has an overall better story.
I feel like Crazy Stupid Love is better for like the actual love line as well, like the romantic side.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Meet the Parents is more about meeting the parents and getting your significant other to actually gel with your parents.
Yeah, I get that.
So the Crazy Stupid Love wins?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was quick.
And some of them might be that way. Others we might have a really fun discussion on who should win. Alright, so our next matchup is 10 Things I Hate About You, the movie, not the TV show, and 50 First Dates.
Who put 10 Things I Hate About You? Okay, you can go first. I'm curious because I haven't seen that one just yet.
Oh
50 First Dates. Listen, 50 First Dates is like I don't watch too many rom-coms, but that's one I'm just like, Adam Sandler, you're all right there, buddy.
Listen, we get Heath Ledger, baby Heath Ledger. We get baby Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Um, like they're oh gosh, we get Heath Ledger singing to a Frankie Valli song with a marching band, and like we get a paintball fight. It's also based on Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew, and so then there's two geeks who fall in love with each other based on their love for Shakespeare. Um, oh my gosh, it's hilarious. It is um it's one of those ones that I can sit there and watch as a single person and not feel terrible that I'm single.
Okay, that actually is pretty good. You make a damn good point.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go with Hope just because of that cast. It's so good, and I love Heath Ledger as an actor.
I'll go with it. Not gonna lie, I love 50 First Dates. It's like my family's like go-to rom-com. But Heath Ledger, I do have to say, it sounds like it's a really, really good movie, and I might watch it tonight.
You definitely should watch it tonight because it is hilarious. It'll make you cry at one point. Um, but like how Kat reacts to boys around her, and then Patrick, Heath Ledger's character, trying to win her over, and it's like you get both the girly side with Kat's younger sister, and then Kat being like the tomboy who doesn't care about anything. Um, you get the sweet guy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, uh, actually getting the girl, but also like being completely clueless. It is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 16 Candles or Love Actually.
It's 16 Candles.
What?
It's 16 Candles. I'm sorry. It's John Hughes. You can't ever beat John Hughes. John Hughes is the master at team romance. That movie is literally it's so perfect. It's so perfect. You got Molly Ringwald, you got Anthony Michael Hall, and I forget who plays the boyfriend in that movie. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up real quick. But the storyline of that, it's so simple. Her parents forgot her 16th birthday, and so she just goes around the day. Just everybody has forgotten that it's her birthday, and she's just trying to make herself feel better throughout the entire day. It's such a damn good movie. Hold on, who's the guy that plays the boyfriend?
Mike, what's your background?
Michael Scoffling. He's so good in this movie. He's just this like lovable boyfriend who wants to do anything he can for Molly Ringwald's character. It's so good. It's so good. I rest my case. It's John Hughes. I rest my case.
I would say Love Actually has so many different ideas. The background is Love Actually. There are probably a good like 4 to 5, I think, different storylines of different love. You get different things like a young love, like probably about like 10, 11. You get one of this, older couple kind of falling out of love and then coming back to it. You get the prime minister falling in love with his secretary, and they both really like love each other, and the American guy's an asshole, and there's just so much about it. There's Alan Rickman, there's Hugh Grant, there's
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, Liam Neeson. I mean, there's so many great things, and Keira Knightley's in it, and oh my gosh, all the different storylines just make you just happy and warm, and it all comes together near the end where you're just like, oh my gosh, they're all connected somehow, some way. I love it. It's like the perfect. This is the one that I hate the fact you really like yours, Carter, and I really like mine. This is the one that's hard.
And it's so bad because I don't think I've seen either one of them.
Seriously.
Oh, like I can't even be the deciding factor.
Wait, though, Love Actually is more of a Christmas movie than it is a Valentine's Day movie, though. So I think by that default, I should get this point.
Oh, I mean, you're
I mean,
right.
that
It
is
is
kind
a
of
Christmas
fair.
movie.
But
All right,
also,
fine.
no,
No, I'll
I'm
take that
trying
one.
to like still find the points for you here, okay? I think too because it's set. Is it set in England, in London, right? Love
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Can you really tell the difference between Christmas and Valentine's Day, except for all of the decorations
They
in
mentioned Christmas.
London?
They mentioned Christmas multiple times in the movie.
Yeah, Christmas is like very, very big on that
It's
one.
like central to that movie.
All right.
I will say Love Actually has one plot line that's not even romantic. It's more of just like friendship and someone just sticking with someone, even like though they are kind of a like washout, type of celebrity, washed up celebrity. That's it. And I think that the fact that it does have a storyline that isn't romantic, just like a very like platonic friendship, and that's one of their love stories, I think that's fantastic.
Now, see, I got you beat there because in 16 Candles, Anthony Michael Hall is only friends with Molly Ringwald's character. Therefore, I win.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah,
I got
but
you
he
there.
basically plays the same character he does in Breakfast Club.
Is that a bad thing?
Yes.
No, it's not. What are you talking about? No, it's not.
It's like Tobey Maguire playing the same type of character since he was cast as Spider-Man.
Great Gatsby and Spider-Man. They're literally the same character.
Yeah, I know, which is awful, in my opinion.
Not
But
to
I mean,
sidetrack,
like,
but I gotta say, the Great Gatsby adaptation, I don't like.
Really?
Yeah, I really don't think that it's a good adaptation of the book.
I think it's a fine adaptation. I think it's a really good movie.
I think
Kinda
that
like,
one is like a definitely glorifying the 20s and making it more sparkly and like fantastical than it actually was is my biggest problem with the Leonardo DiCaprio um adaptation. But other than that, like I feel like it fits pretty well with the actual book. And it
I,
actually, but
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like when Jay no, Nick calls his Daisy to like tell her that Jay is dead, and then the family's there but they're leaving. Like that made my entire class realize how much of a bitch Daisy actually is. So I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah. I guess I just didn't like the fact that they decided to put in modern music
That's
during
yeah.
certain parts. I remember hearing that and I was like, why would you do that? That's like, it's just gonna age really, really poorly. And people are gonna be like, why is this song in this?
Yeah.
And then
That's fair.
everything about that, I was like, oh, that's like so tasteless and Hollywoodized.
That's fair.
But
So ending our geek tangent and going back to us arguing about 16 Candles or Love Actually. Um, I think specifically because one of the plot lines, one of the storylines of Love Actually is a platonic friendship. And that's part of Valentine's Day is remembering those platonic friendships that you have. Um, Especially when you're single, like you have the single dates that you go on with your friends, or you just throw yourselves your own Valentine's Day parties. Like I feel like that's part of Valentine's Day, especially in our world today. So I think the votes are going towards Love Actually.
really?
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I need to look something up.
Okay.
Okay.
Never mind. Take the point. I was just making sure 16 Candles didn't actually take place on Valentine's Day. It takes place in February, but not on Valentine's Day.
So our final bracket for the Sweet 16 on the left side here in the categories Raving and Movie, Letters to Juliet and Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Man, this is like gonna be like a heartbreaker for everybody. I put Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and I think it's like it was my throwaway one because I know that I know it,
Oh
and I don't watch too many rom-coms, so I was like, I'll put it in there. Man, it's got nothing.
no.
Really? I thought Scott Pilgrim was a pretty good rom-com. It's about a guy going through his girlfriend's, what is it? 7 boyfriends? 7 evil boyfriends, right?
Seven X's, because
The
there
seven
is
exes. Yeah.
oh,
I mean, that's pretty
I was
rom.
gonna say it is a great rom-com, but at the same time, you have to admit Scott Pilgrim is kind of a jerk in that entire thing, and
Isn't that just because the world around him is kind of a dick back?
yeah, I think that
He's a
also
pessimist.
the
He's a
comic
literal pessimist.
adaptation actually shows him being a better person though, and the movie is a movie, and it couldn't fit the entire series into it.
Right. Right.
So I was
Well,
like,
I like Scott Pilgrim better than Letters to Juliet, honestly.
well, first off, Letters to Juliet is set in mostly set in Verona, Italy, where Romeo and Juliet happened. And part of why I absolutely love this movie is I actually want to go to Verona and see if people leave letters to Juliet asking her for advice, and then to like know if there is actually like this group of people who write letters back like as the writers for Juliet. But also it has Amanda Seyfried. And then gosh, what is his name? Not you. I swear. Oh, Christopher Egan, if I remember correctly, played Roran in Aragon. Um, so if you like Aragon, he's in there. Um, but I also really like it because it's about like and Charlie, um, his character argues it in the movie too of like it's kind of about the choices you make, um, and the different paths that it takes you down. So like Claire, Charlie's grandmother, decided not to go meet the boy that she was in love with while she was studying in Verona. Um, and if she had gone to meet him, Charlie would have never existed, and this whole trip would have never existed. But because she chose to go back home and leave her love, um, you know, Charlie's parents met and born, and Charlie is there, and so then you get Amanda Seyfried's character who is learning that like the relationship she has with her um fiance is not actually that great of a relationship because very much one-sided. Like you can tell he cares about her, but his care is more about like food and his restaurant that he's starting versus like actually wanting to be with her. And so like he doesn't even realize that she wrote this whole story and got it published, and um
what?
yeah, like he doesn't understand. He's just like, no, I'm opening my restaurant. That's all that matters. And then when she goes, she's like, you didn't even buy me a ring. Like, I don't have a ring. He was like, well, I can get you a ring. She's like, that's not the point. Um, but so I really like Letters to Juliet for that reason too, of like showing people that you can be in a relationship that you feel comfortable with, but it's not necessarily going to be the best relationship. And it doesn't have to be like the relationship is awful because it's abusive. No, it's just like you guys realize that you're not actually um meant to be together or anything. So that's my vote for Letters to Juliet. I don't know.
I like that is actually pretty good.
So Letters
Hmm.
to Juliet, our final one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
On to our Geeks Picks categories for the Sweet 16. So first we have Wedding Crashers, which if you are on YouTube, you will see that Carter's background. This is his pick. And then P.S. I Love You is the other pick for this one. So Carter, what's your argument for Wedding Crashers?
Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. I rest my case.
I will say P.S. I Love You is on more of like the sadder side, but also it has Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and you get to see, not that I don't know if you guys will care about this, but naked butt Jeffrey Dean Morgan, because he
Ooh.
just comes out of the shower, doesn't realize that she's standing there, walks into his room to get dressed, and then that whole funness of them realizing that they can see each other. But it also has Gerard Butler, but only for like the first like 5 minutes of the movie. Because this is not really a spoiler. But essentially, his character, and I think it's Jennifer Gardner. Hold on, let me double check that.
A lot of searching tonight.
No, Hilary Swank, that's who it is. I had the wrong. They look similar. Jennifer Gardner and Hilary Swank kind of look similar to me. Hilary Swank and Gerard Butler's characters, they meet, fall in love, but then he gets sick. Like his character gets sick and passes away. And so to help her move on and like live the rest of her life, he had all these letters written to her that he wrote while he was sick. And so it takes her like on an adventure kind of like through Scotland. And like basically helps her move on and move through grief. But at the same time, she finds new love in Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character. But I mean, if we're trying to stay happy for Valentine's Day, I will be persuaded towards Wedding Crashers.
I mean, it's such a fun, lighthearted movie. I mean, and you also get great quotes like "you sandbagging son of a bitch," and I hope you flip on your. Wait, what does Vince Vaughn say to Owen Wilson when he leaves with his girlfriend? I hope you flip on your bike and knock out your two front teeth. You'll leave me in the trenches taking grenades, John. Like while he's getting the little bolts picked out of his butt. Oh my god, it's such a great and funny movie. I'm sorry, it's Wedding Crashers for me.
I'm good with
Wedding
that.
Crashers, I gotta go with that.
Okay. I think this is like one of. Oh no, because we did have 10 Things I Hate About You, but Wedding Crashers might be our first official rom-com to actually win a category.
Like full.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have West Side Story and My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And I'm not specifying which West Side Story, whether you want the musical, the Broadway musical version, the new release Broadway musical version, which has more Spanish lyrics, with the Puerto Rican songs, the original movie with Rita Moreno as Anita, which is closer and based on the musical more than the newest one with Rita Moreno, but not as Anita in this one. Ansel Elgort as Tony in the new one. So I'm not specifying which West Side Story variation. I'm just saying West Side Story in general, because I absolutely love the music. I love the Latin influences because you have the Puerto Ricans, the Jet, the Sharks, and then you've also got the New York style music, more American, with the Jets. And yeah, oh gosh, it makes Romeo and Juliet not super cheesy and just like, oh, it's so good. It is so good. Like it makes me cry every time. I was in the pit for when my high school did it, and I had to close my ears at the end, otherwise I would start crying and I wouldn't be able to play. Oh, so good.
I love West Side Story. West Side Story is fantastic. My girlfriend loves it. I love it. But might I ask, is there comedy in it? Is there well like
Have
is it a comedy
There's goofy dancing
genre?
in it.
Have ya heard the song G Officer Krupke?
Officer
No.
Crook.
That's one song out of how many? This is more of a drama, if anything.
But like also at the dance, when the dance sequence at the gym, in the newer
Also,
movie.
it's just goofy dancing. Have you seen like any of the performances? Like seeing those guys dance around and yet they're supposed to be fighting? It's really funny, actually. So I guess it's a rom-com accidentally.
Damn. I I think that My Big Fat Greek Wedding has such a great thing of like showing heritage and just embracing your family and all that stuff, and also your partner embracing what could be such a zany wild bit of culture and growing to love it and accepting it. The best part about My Big Fat Greek Wedding is really the fact that he's not the groom who has to embrace all this stuff. He is not upset about any of it. It's really the bride who was like, "Oh God, my family, they're gonna ruin it, all this stuff." The dude's like, "Oh man, this is great. This is fun." And it kind of reminds me of, my family and, you know, all the Mexican stuff on my dad's side, and then my mom being white, and just like the very differing sets of culture, and it's hilarious because some of that culture can be a little bit wild. The family can be absolutely crazy in a certain way, but you love them for it. You will love them, and you're happy that they're now your family too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so reading the IMDb plot summary, My Big Fat Greek Wedding is a more comical version of West Side Story and Romeo and Juliet, because her dad wants her to date a nice Greek boy, and then she goes and dates a non-Greek, and then he's all upset. So you don't quite have the feuding families, but like the same Romeo and Juliet line is still there.
Yeah, that's true.
And the dad grows to be like, oh man, he's just like one of us. He's so great. You love every second of it. It's just like one of my favorite things that the Greek dad likes to do is say that everything originates from Greece, and like everything is Greek. And one girl, like a girl, while they were like driving off to school, she was like, well, what about kimono? And he somehow got it to somehow originate from Greece and Greek like culture. It was like kimono, it's Greek. And I always love that. I love how stubborn he is. It just reminds me of such a like loving dad that just is a little too proud of his heritage to a point, down to a fault.
Right.
Well, Carter, I think you're gonna have to be the deciding one on this.
I'm
Whether
going with
it's
West Side Story. I just enjoy the West Side Story
All
as
right.
a total
I can't
more.
even be upset about that.
I mean, to be fair, I think when My Big Fat Greek Wedding came out in, where is it? 2002. So I do give it its credit for being like still a really good Valentine's Day movie that like is still around 20 years later and that people still love to watch. So I will give My Big Fat Greek Wedding its props and a shout out for that.
Thank you.
All right. So next we've got Dan in Real Life and The Proposal, which I just want to say The Proposal, Betty White, Ryan Reynolds, and Sandra Bullock. And a tiny little puppy who gets taken by an eagle, and then she has to run around. Or no, the eagle takes her phone, and then she's running around with the puppy, trying to get the eagle to take the puppy instead of her phone because she doesn't know what to do without her phone. But it also has dial-up internet. Sandra Bullock is the one who's Canadian, not Ryan Reynolds. Even though in real life it's flipped. And then just Betty White and the song when Sandra Bullock starts going with the dance around the fire, from the window to the wall, with her Betty White. Ugh, it was so beautiful. Rest in peace, Betty White. I miss you so much. Dan in Real Life.
Dan in Real Life. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Yeah, Hope, you make a really good point with The Proposal, and I'm not even mad if Dan in Real Life loses this round. I'm just putting Dan in Real Life up here because it's such an obscure romantic comedy by Disney. It's on Disney Plus for free, and it's about a guy played by Steve Carell, and he has 3 daughters, and he writes a column for the newspaper about his life, basically, and he loses his wife earlier in his life, and he goes up to his family cottage and he meets a woman while he's just strolling out around that area, and he comes home and finds out that his brother is dating that woman, and the movie ensues from there. It's just a really, really good movie, and it means a lot to my family. So even if it loses this round, I just want everybody to know to go watch that movie, because I'm pretty sure I've also recommended more than once on this podcast. So yeah.
So just really quickly, I just want to clarify. I thought that Hope was talking about Dan in Real Life that whole time, not The Proposal. So Hope, I want to watch The Proposal. I also want to watch Dan in Real Life, but I was like, oh man, Dan in Real Life, I'm gonna have to watch that. And then you started talking about Dan in Real Life, and I was like, oh, I got that mixed up. Oh my gosh. So I think that The Proposal sounds really good.
Yeah, I'll agree with The Proposal.
That was a great argument from both sides.
All right. So our final matchup in the Sweet 16 is The Princess Bride and The Big Sick. If Isaac was here, he would say The Princess Bride. I'm just saying.
Unfortunately, I do have to go with The Princess Bride. I love The Big Sick. I absolutely adore The Big Sick. But come on, The Princess Bride is all bits funny and romantic and lovely and charming. It's one of those perfect movies. It's hard to hate The Princess Bride.
Mm-hmm.
And
I picked The Princess Bride for this round. You already know where my vote's going.
I mean, The Big Sick and P.S. I Love You are both if you want that movie that's gonna make you cry and be in your feels on Valentine's Day, those are the 2 movies to watch, I think, out of our entire list. I mean, West Side Story is gonna make you cry no matter what, but it's not gonna put you in your feels as much as the other 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're down to our Elite 8. So we'll start from the bottom up and go backwards. So The Proposal against The Princess Bride.
Princess Bride wins.
Princess Bride.
Mm-hmm.
I'll concede to that because Carrie Ills is he's so perfect. Wedding Crashers against West Side Story.
I'm gonna say Wedding Crashers because it's more of a rom-com than West Side Story is. And they both have dramatic elements in their story. So I'm going with Wedding Crashers on this one.
I can concede West Side Story to Wedding Crashers because, as we said about Love Actually, Wedding Crashers is also the friendship aspect of Valentine's Day, and relationships. So I can concede to that.
I love West Side Story, but if I'm going for a rom-com, I think that I would be going for Wedding Crashers.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Love Actually against Letters to Juliet.
I'm gonna have to go Love Actually. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have to go Love Actually too. Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Hope.
So mad. So mad. It's fine. I can watch it later. It's fine.
I was gonna say you can watch it. No matter what, everybody who listens to this now knows that Letters to Juliet exists, and it's a great movie. So go watch that no matter what. But if you have to watch a single movie, that's what The Champion is for.
Yes, that is exactly right. All right. 10 Things I Hate About You or Crazy Stupid Love. I'm up for 10 things.
I'm gonna go Crazy Stupid Love on this. I'm sorry, Ryan Gosling and Steve Carell are just perfect in that movie, and it beats out Heath Ledger and Joseph Gordon-Levitt for me.
I think I have to go with 10 Things I Hate About You from what I've seen.
Really?
Both of those I have not watched. That's the problem. But Heath Ledger and like the whole idea, you were fought really hard on 10 Things I Hate About You, and because of that, I got to hear a lot of the good points, and I like how how it sounds.
It is phenomenal. Because I should also add that Patrick, Heath Ledger's character, originally is getting paid to go out with Kat so that Joey can go out with Bianca, because their dad has this rule that Bianca, the younger sister, can't do anything unless Kat does it. So Bianca can't go on dates unless Kat goes on dates, because he's the gynecologist, so he delivers babies, and he's like, no, my daughters are not being teen moms like all the girls that come into my clinic. And yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right,
man,
we're down to our final 4. These will determine our championship round and then our champion.
Oh my gosh.
So, Love Actually or 10 Things I Hate About You?
10 Things I Hate About You. Mm-hmm.
I know, I'm still gonna keep going with Love Actually, but I know.
And then here's the one that we're probably going to fight the most on for final 4. Wedding Crashers or The Princess Bride?
This one sucks. This decision
sucks.
is hard.
I personally say The Princess Bride because, my name is Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die. It's like one of the most iconic movie lines. And also you have Andre the Giant. Like, come on.
I would just like to say, when it comes to The Princess Bride, at this point, it's hard to find someone who hasn't already watched The Princess Bride. They probably know the story pretty well to a certain extent.
I feel like, Carter, what generation are you? What generation do you claim?
I'm born in 2001, so isn't that Generation Z?
Yeah, okay.
Gen Z.
I feel like, and this might be more the younger Gen Z, don't know The Princess Bride except for the memes. And mostly,
that's a fair point, yeah.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
It's the same with Wedding Crashers. It's the same with any movie. You ask Gen Z about a movie, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I saw the meme about that." That doesn't really prove anything.
I mean,
but I think they are more likely to think of just that specific line for The Princess Bride
That's true. That is true.
than like having actually seen it. Whereas I feel like Wedding Crashers, they're more likely to have seen it. Because it's
Vince
comedic,
Vaughn.
and
Mhm.
in our world today we need more comedy. But
You
Yeah.
know, I guess, yeah, damn, that's a good point.
Mhm.
I hate the fact about it, but The Princess Bride just keeps prevailing, and I can't believe that.
I will say my brother is going to be really mad at me, but I'm casting my vote for Princess Bride because it is just a way better love story than Wedding Crashers.
true.
Because Wedding Crashers is literally about two guys trying to hook up with a couple of people, and one of the crashers accidentally falls in love. Well, The Princess Bride is actually a really good love story about two people who just love each other.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
All right, our championship round: 10 things I hate about you and The Princess Bride.
It's Princess Bride.
The only thing I would say about Princess Bride is, does it, if you're single, does it make you ache that you're single?
I say yes, because it reinforces the whole, like, I mean, he's not really knight in shining armor, but it reinforces that, like, he's gonna come and save you and make sure you don't have to go with the stupid guy, the bad one.
Yeah.
And like, for the people that don't have that or feel like they don't have that, like that, it just kind of reinforces the narrative.
Yeah, that ugh feeling,
Yeah.
which,
Whereas, like, at least 10 things I hate about you, like, you get the heartbreak and you understand both sides, but you're also laughing and like rooting for them more than like hating that you are single.
which I love The Princess Bride. I think you're right, Carter. It has a fantastic relationship, but I feel like if anybody who's single were to watch it during Valentine's Day, they would just go, "Damn, I don't got that."
I actually heavily disagree because I'm one of those single people who do watch this movie on
Really?
Valentine's Day. And yeah, I am single.
Huh.
I don't think that's really the point of the movie. The point of the movie is just to have like a good fantasy story with a love story. And I don't think if you're going into that movie with that mindset, you shouldn't be watching any rom-coms. You should be watching a comedy or a fantasy movie. Just stay away from rom-com in general if you're feeling that way. Or if you're feeling that way, go out and fix that mood. Because if you're watching Princess Bride and feeling like that, you should not be watching Princess Bride at all. Princess Bride is this purely magical and simple movie that anybody could watch at any point at their life. And I really don't think that a whole lot of people watch Princess Bride with that mindset. Because it's not only about a love story, it's also an action and adventure story. There are sword fights, there's magic, and then there's friendship bonding with Andre the Giant, and I forget the tiny guy's name. The bald guy is it's gonna bug me. Hold on.
The manager from The Incredibles.
Yes, that guy. What's his name? What's his name? He's so funny in that movie.
But I will say that also does bring into another point that there's so much other stuff that's happening around this love story that it might drive away the point that it's a love story and this is Valentine's Day.
To also counter your point, Carter, of if people are going into it thinking a certain way, the female society has grown up with Disney princesses. It wasn't until recently that, I mean, okay, I had Mulan growing up, and then Lilo and Stitch, but other than that, it has been your prince is gonna come save you and pull you out of this awful situation, whatever. And like, yeah, okay, now we have Brave and Frozen and Moana, but it's still kind of like reinforced for the gender stereotypes of a girl needs her prince in shining armor. Um,
Which,
which like is a good, wholesome, like, yes, it would be great to have the prince in shining armor, that guy who is your guy who's gonna like, you know, support you and everything. But at the same time, when females are single on Valentine's Day, I feel like there's a different stigma and thought process that goes into it.
mm,
And so, like, at least for the female side, it's like, I want to be able to watch a love story that makes that, like, I love Princess Bride. Don't get me wrong. I love Princess Bride. But it's probably not going to be one that I watch on Valentine's Day. Like, just because for me, I'm just like, we still single, don't have the guy that's gonna stop me from plunging a dagger into my chest moments before I do it. Um,
that's
but
a great that's a great thought process.
I mean, like, it's just, yeah. Whereas, like, 10 Things I Hate About You, he's, like, you have a paintball fight where it's literally like, you know, he they don't care. It's just a paintball fight to have fun. And like that's when you start to realize you actually enjoy each other's company, even if it's just like as friends. But because at that point they weren't technically dating yet, they were still friends. Um, but
Having it's weird. I haven't watched the movie, but I really do think that 10 Things I Hate About You, which I will watch tonight, I know that at this point, um, it sounds like the type of movie that's perfect for Valentine's Day for anybody. Regardless of gender, regardless of age, anything. Well, to a certain point. I
mean,
think that
yeah, because you
this is
got. I think too, like if we're going with like comedies, I feel like 10 Things I Hate About You is a little bit more comedic, or at least has the consistent comedic aspects. Whereas like Princess Bride, it kind of pops in and out. Like it just, oh, here's the comedic relief. Okay, now go back to the storyline or go to this storyline. Oh, here's the comedic relief. Just strategically placed.
and really well, but
Yeah.
I
Either
think that,
way, we're gonna have a great champion. I will just say that. Either way.
and even then, who isn't the champion is still very, very, very good.
Yes. Like this is
All right.
very close.
I think that we should just have a vote right now and see who it is.
All right. Princess Bride.
I.
One. And then 10
Oh,
Things I Hate About You.
I guess.
All right. All right. So our
Wait,
final.
I guess that's an
No.
unfair ruling. I guess. I
No,
guess
I didn't know what
that
the rules
doesn't mean
were.
anything. I demand a recount.
I think he was saying like, oh, I guess I should say I instead of like I guess.
Yeah, I ain't confident like I did. You guys all made great points, but I still stand by my answer in Princess Bride. Mike, what the hell was that?
I'm trying here, man. I'm just the guest.
No, that's fine. 10 Things I Hate About You is worthy of that championship.
I mean, like I said, if this was like an actual basketball bracket, I feel like who would win the game would literally come down to a buzzer beater basket of like, it's been neck and neck, one will go up and then the other will come and then go up and then, in points and everything. And it would literally come down to who had the ball last and got a basket before time ran out.
It's perfect.
Yeah. So there we have it. We have our 10 Things I Hate About You is our champion for this year's 2023 Valentine's Day movie bracket. All of the movies from our Sweet 16 to Elite 8 to Final Four deserve some credit for everybody's Valentine's Days. Because everybody celebrates differently, everybody feels differently about Valentine's Day. I mean, you guys heard it from us. Even we don't all have the same idea of what Valentine's Day should be. So I guess before we leave, all we have left to do is our movie or our geeky recommendations, which as always can be movies, TV shows, books, music, something in our community, anything that we want to help spread smiles and good times and fun. So what's our recommendations for this week?
Well, I only really have two. For all the millennials out there who haven't seen Princess Bride, please go watch it.
Gen Z. Gen
Gen
Z has
Z.
not seen it. Millennials have definitely seen it.
That's fair. Gen Z then. But my other recommendation is Last of Us because it's getting really, really good, and we're halfway through the season right now. So catch up if you haven't.
My only recommendation that I have, and this one's just like, well, actually two. Love Actually, highly recommend it. It is really good. And there's also a showing, I'm pretty sure, over at the film festival that's happening with CMU. So go check out that poster because I'm going to be seeing it with my girlfriend and I'm excited. And the second one is Metroid Prime Remastered. It got shadow dropped during the Nintendo Direct, and it's my top 5 favorite game, possibly number 1. And it's really, really good. It's on the Switch, $40 right now, right here, digitally only at the moment, until physically in like 9 days. Highly recommend it through and through. All I gotta say.
Nice.
Yeah. My recommendations, definitely the movies we had on our bracket. I did not, when I wrote down my recommendation, I did not think this would be the champion. 10 Things I Hate About You, the movie. But also the TV show, if you have access to Prime Video and then BritBox. Why Didn't They Ask Evans, which is an Agatha Christie novel turned into a miniseries. It's got Will Poulter, Hugh Laurie, Helen Mirren. It is also a mini love story as well between the two main characters. I absolutely loved it. So yeah. If you guys want to make your argument for a movie that didn't make it past any level or whatever, you guys can reach out to us at Twitter or Facebook at Raving Geeks, and then you can also check us out on TikTok at Raving Geeks as well. We wish you guys all a happy Valentine's Day or Valentine's Day. We hope that you guys have a great week and stay geeky, everyone.
All right, see you guys later.
All right, see ya.